Welcome to Club Wisdom 8. This is a short and sweet video based on Diehart and how to not only develop his class but also how to link him and which heroes you might want to put him with. Okay, so with regard to him being a knight, eventually you'll have some classes to choose from. Now, you either choose to go in Raider as far as I'm concerned or the Highlander direction. Now, the simple way is if you have a tank to protect you, go the Raider direction. If you don't have anyone to really protect you on your team, then maybe go the Highlander direction. And also, if you are definitely playing PvP, if you're going in arena, definitely begin with this direction. You're going to need it. However, it does get a tiny bit more deeper than that, unfortunately. But let me first show you a clip of why I might recommend this for arena first. So what you have just witnessed for Diehart is his Highlander's strike skill. So an active skill, attack increases by 20%, lasts for 1 turn. When cast, it's possible to attack again within 3 blocks. Okay, so what he casted there was strike, and it allowed him to jump completely across to the other side and completely kill the other team and rip them out. And that's what I really like in PvP about using him. So please think about it. I mean, it's hilarious, really. Okay, so that's one of the main points. Now let's get to his combination of people to put him with. Okay, everyone. First, let me apologize that I haven't got a proper table ready for you, so instead let me just explain it because I'm doing it as quick as possible because I have to work. Okay, so the first point is that if you go onto the Gamepedia and the Wikipedia section and you look at faction, so we're going a bit deeper, but don't worry too much. If you look at the faction, Diehart, he's in 2 of them. One is called a Protagonist, and the other one is called, yes, the Origin of Light. If you go into the Origin of Glory, he's not there. So with regard to these 2, it's quite nice to pair him with one of these units, and it's quite nice to pair him with the Origin of Lights. So if you want to look further into this game, if you want to pair him, then what you get is later on you can use certain techniques to buff the other players. I'll give you one example. Unfortunately, the Royal Knight does not go into that direction, but once you get to a high master, and don't worry, once you master this, you'll come back later. That's why after level 50 and stuff, after a few months, you'll really get to you'll get every skill. Now look at this. It's called a faction buff you get later, so in the Light of Hope. And this skill, when the troopers 5 or more buffs, okay, all the stats increase by 15% or whatever, but at the beginning attack and defense increases significantly for everyone with Origins of Light within range. So as long as everyone's within his range and they're from the Origin of Light, they're going to get buffed up. And not everyone does offer these faction buffs. However, the reason why I want you to consider the Origin of Light for a start and think of this as making your team is because not only would Diehart be able to buff them, these guys, some of them also have a buff that can also buff him and in turn buff all the others on the same type of team. Now, okay, so I don't want it to get too complicated. All you need to know is I'm just going to recommend who you can go with, and you might want to get a pen and paper out for this. Okay, so just to quickly say, with regard to how to go about this, I want to talk about with regard to the Origin of Light. Please remember Origin of Light. I want to talk about how you might want to go about it. So if you have Diehart who can be quite tanky, quite defensive and powerful, next, you still might need another powerful guy with an alternative, like not a cavalry unit. You might need someone else, like a swordsman or something. So you could go for Kirikaze. However, as you know, I'm not a fan of him from my tier list. Anyway, you could still go with him. The next person as a tank, with regard to another person who can defend whilst not being a cavalry unit, is Freya. And actually she is really used quite a lot in his kind of team. I actually rated her a bit higher in my tier list because of him coming out. But now that I've got really into it, she might need to be higher if you're going to use him within your group. However, I've used her quite a lot on other servers, on the Taiwan server, and at the beginning, I must say, she's no fun to use, and her defense isn't that great. So I think it really takes a long time to really buff her up, and you really have to equip her. You have to get her defense probably like above like a certain amount for her to really do damage. But that's why at the same time, his buffs would be really helpful. And why do I recommend her in particular? Well, Freya actually has. So if we go back here and we take a look at Freya, you're going to find that if you decide to develop to the Royal Guardian, and she has a faction buff, and for the Origin of Light, and she can also increase attack and defense, and if the troop has 5 or more buffs, all stats increase by 15%. So these buffs can stack on top of each other. So that's a double buff. She buffs him, he buffs her, everyone buffs the other, and it's just a powerful team. So do you see where, I hope you can see where I'm going here. So Diehart and Freya are a wonderful combination. Now, other people you can have on your team with Diehart, so you're going to need a healer, so maybe TRS and or Sophia. I'm using Sophia in another game, and again I don't like her actually. I prefer Almeida, but what can I do? It's a difficult one here, but with regard to future factions, maybe it's quite helpful in this kind of team. And I do enjoy playing with heroes who no one likes. So on other servers, I'm really trying to make units work, and honestly, it's not that easy, especially if you play an arena. So yeah, please keep this in mind. Now, Tiaras and Sophia, they don't have a faction buff, so their faction buffs, they don't have them, so they can't really do anything to help. Yes, but don't worry too much. But now let's go into other people on the team here. Now, out of all these, you could use Ledin, and you could combine with Dios, wherever he is, for an archer. Now, they also don't have faction buffs, however, but Luna does. So what Luna has is called the Princess Advent, and again, it increases attack and defense, and it's similar to the others. They all just have different names, ridiculously. Anyway, so Diehart, Freya, and Luna are a very nice combination with regard to their faction buffs, but you still have to get everything up. So I hope this information is helpful for a start with regard to if you want to make an Origin of Light team. So again, it could be Diehart, Freya, and Luna as the main, and then you could be looking at some of the other units to go into your team. So Tiaras or Sophia, or maybe Dios, but I strongly don't recommend him. So in fact, you don't need Dios if you have Luna. So you're gonna have to think more about it. But okay, so that's the first part of Origin of Light. So next, let's get a bit more interesting and go to the protagonists. There's not many to choose from, but really, really good heroes. I mean, we got Elwin, we got Ledin, and Matthew. Now, these are these three. One of these three would be great to choose as your DPS, as your powerful hero. For example, Ledin, if you choose him, like if we go here, if we go back and we look at Ledin, and it's very similar for Elwin. If you go to his king, you will see that Ledin has a faction buff, and it's also not only attack and defense, it's 20%, not like 15% for the other one. So it's really powerful and very nice. So that's Ledin. Now if we go back, if we look at Elwin, for example, let's go to Elwin and let's look at, I think it's the Marshal. Nope. It's the hero. Oh, it's the hero because it's the same as Matthew's actually. Eternal Light. Yeah, so when HP is above 80%, yeah, increase the attack skill by attack defense by 15%, and for all allies in the Legion of Glory. So if you see where I'm getting at here, we have quite a good combo, and Matthew is exactly similar to Elwin's hero buff, and it's 15%, but it has a different name. So. But what you can see is that Ledin's is a bit better than the other two, and Ledin is just the best. Look at my tier list, I state it again. There's no messing about. Ledin is the best. There's nothing to say. Anyway, to continue on, now, as I'm saying, this is for Diehart. This is a build around Diehart. Now, remember what I said before. I said TRS could have been good on the other one. So on the other one, when I said on the Origin of Light, I said yeah, he could have had TRS. Now TRS comes in very well if she's linked in this team, so it would have been much better. And then so that would be for a healer. But however, if you don't have the cash to get her, which probably most people don't, Almeida is great. You could choose her. So that would be another one. However, as you know, these two don't have faction buffs. However, what Matthew could do in a team with Diehart, both of them could buff up those guys. And if you want to have Chris, that's also fine as a magician. I use her and she's great. Now, So with regard now to coming to the end of this video, I want to make some recommendations on the first kind of 5 teams or 4 teams to recommend. So before I continue to say the recommended team, I want you to pause this video and really take some time to think, based on what I said, what kind of team do you think you could use? Maybe if you go to the Gamepedia, the Wikipedia page, maybe you could take a look for yourself. If you were to do it for yourself, what you would develop would probably be a better understanding than me just giving it to you and you being a parrot. However, don't worry, I understand. I've been there, done that. You have no time, okay? Just believe in what I'm saying, okay? Or take whatever. But if you pause it, it's always better. Okay, here we go. So the ideal Diehart combo. This is the first combination of people I want to talk about. So number 1, Diehart. 2nd, Ledin. 3rd, Freya. Luna, then TRS. Now, Diehart, Ledin, and Freya and Luna, they all have these buffs. They can all buff each other. So that can stack, and that's really a crazy combination. So if you have the cash, go for it. Next up, a cheaper Diehart combo. So Diehart, Ledin, Freya. I'm sorry I say cheaper, but just in case. And it doesn't have to be Ledin. Every time I say Ledin, you could change it to Elwin or... yeah, that's it. And if at worst, Kirikaze. So Diehart, Ledin, Freya, Luna, and Matthew as a thief. Now, again, this would give you a lot of buffs. 1 from Diehart, 1 from Ledin, 1 from Freya, and that is not Luna. It could have been Luna, but in case you don't get her, I just put Chris. So it would have been another one from Matthew. It would have been from Matthew. Now the reason why I'm not gonna say Luna is because she won't heal you. However, if you just wanted an attack only team, Luna is fine. This team would be great. There would be 5 buffs if Luna was on the team. This could be a super team. This could be a mega crazy team. However, that would be a complete attacking natured team. If we had Chris on the team, although she doesn't provide the buff like for the faction, she provides different buffs. So yeah, okay, think about it. So Luna or Chris, depending on what you want, but Luna would be, yeah, that would be 5 super faction buffs. Okay, next, the glory combo. I call this like the origin of glory, I think, because it's the faction. Now this is quite an unusual mix. So it'll be Diehart, with sorry, I'll just put number 3. I can't do it. Anyway, sorry. So forget everything. Don't worry if you can't see it for now. It will be Diehart with Matthew as a hero, not as a thief this time, and Freya, Narm, and Almeida. Now, the combination of Matthew, Narm, and Almeida, as I put here, it's the glory combo. So they can, although Almeida provides no faction, but the mix with Matthew and Narm and Almeida is quite helpful, and Almeida also connects with Diehart as well, and also I believe Freya on the Princess faction. So there is still some faction connections, but so I call it the glory combo. So these are combinations you can start thinking of. Now next, the cheapest one. I didn't put the pictures. And anyway, so the cheapest one: Diehart, Matthew, Freya, Almeida, and Dios. Dios, it's a difficult one, huh? So yeah, now this is really difficult. However, these first 3 will be able to buff each other with the faction buffs, but these 2 will not. However, in the future, you're going to find new units that will provide these faction buffs. So don't worry, you can just take your time instead. So if you want to really take up Diehart and take him very seriously for your team, please consider the options I've given to you. All the best, and please subscribe and like, and then I can put out more videos to help you. Okay, over and out. Bye.